What if your favorite video game could create entire new worlds for you, like on the fly, just as you play?
Hmm.
Or imagine chatting with someone across the globe and their words are instantly translated into your language, not just accurately, but with all the original tone and nuance.
Yeah, that sounds pretty
You
futuristic.
might think this sounds like science fiction, right?
Yeah.
But today we're diving into how these capabilities are not just possible, but, well, already happening. It's thanks to something incredibly powerful: real-time generative AI.
Right.
So this deep dive is all about how this technology is fundamentally changing how humans and machines interact. It's a real shift driven by generative AI, edge computing, and high-speed networks all coming together.
It's not just faster AI. That's the key thing.
Exactly. It's about a qualitatively different way of interacting with technology.
Yeah, and our mission in this deep dive really is to unpack this whole emergent category for you. We want to help you understand its core technologies, explore its truly transformative applications across industries, and frankly, tackle the significant hurdles, both technical and, societal, that stand in its way.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Get ready to explore how AI is moving from just analysis to active creation, and how that's going to reshape, well, pretty much everything from how we entertain ourselves to how we communicate globally.
The big one.
For decades, AI has primarily been about analysis, hasn't it? Identifying objects and images, predicting outcomes from data. Think of it as classifying and understanding existing information.
Right, understanding what's already there.
But generative AI, that's a profound departure. This
Mm.
AI doesn't just understand, it creates entirely new original content.
Exactly. It's the difference between an AI that tells you what's in a picture and an AI that actually draws a picture for you.
Right.
We're talking about models that can generate text, images, audio, video, even software code. This leap is powered by sophisticated deep neural networks with architectures like generative adversarial networks, GANs you might have heard of, and especially transformer-based models, which, people probably know through large language models or LLMs like the GPT series.
Okay.
And what's truly fascinating now is the accelerating move towards multimodality. So you have models like OpenAI's GPT-4o that can process and generate stuff across multiple formats, text, images, audio, all within a single system. That makes for a much richer, more integrated experience.
And when we add the real-time aspect to this creative power, I mean, that's where things get really wild, isn't it? It's not just about speed, is it?
No, definitely not. Real time isn't just about fast. In a computational sense, it's precise systems that sense, analyze, and act on streaming data as it happens.
As it happens, okay.
This is a huge shift from traditional batch processing, where information is stored and then analyzed hours or maybe days later.
Right, like crunching numbers overnight.
Exactly. Think about it. If an AI isn't processing data as it comes in, it's like your GPS running on last week's traffic updates. It leads you straight into a jam you could have totally avoided. Real time means the data is fresh. Always.
Okay, so if we combine that creative generative power with the immediacy of real-time processing, what does that actually look like in practice?
Well, it means these applications don't just analyze data. They create novel content or actions in response to it with virtually no delay.
Yeah, okay.
And that's what truly distinguishes them from popular tools like, say, ChatGPT or Midjourney. While those are incredibly impressive, generating a long article with ChatGPT or a high-res image with Midjourney still involves a noticeable processing delay. You hit enter and you wait.
Yeah, you definitely wait sometimes.
With real-time generative AI, that wait almost disappears. It's much more fluid.
And that immediacy enables some core capabilities, doesn't it, you mentioned?
Absolutely. Two really stand out. Dynamic adaptation, where outputs adapt based on continuous input, like a conversation that flows naturally.
Uh-huh.
And situational personalization, tailoring experiences based on live current data, not just past behavior.
So connecting this to the bigger picture, you're saying this is a whole paradigm shift.
It really is. It's no longer a discrete loop where you click a button and get a response. Real-time generative AI is more like a dynamic, unbroken loop where the AI is constantly generating and regenerating content in response to live user actions. The AI becomes an active, dynamic partner.
So the AI is always kind of listening, always creating.
Exactly. And it forces us to redefine personalization, too. Traditional personalization is reactive, right? Based on historical data.
Yeah, what you clicked on last week.
Right. Real-time generative AI can ingest historical and live situational data, your current location, maybe the tone of your voice, actions you're taking in a game, even unfolding world events. So it adapts not just to who you are based on your past, but to what you are doing and experiencing right now.
Wow. Can you give an example of that?
Sure. Imagine a navigation app. It doesn't just know your preferred coffee shop from history. It also suggests a new route and an alternative stop on the fly because it's simultaneously processing live traffic, maybe weather alerts, and even looking at your calendar, noticing an upcoming meeting.
Okay, that's true situational personalization. It's reacting to the now.
Precisely.
Here's where it gets really interesting for me. For these applications to truly feel real time, latency, that delay between input and response, is everything.
Hmm.
The human brain is incredibly sensitive to even tiny delays, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just about raw power, is it? It's about predictability, about managing user perception so they never feel that little stutter or pause.
You've hit the nail on the head. We talk about two key metrics here. First is time to first token, or TTFT.
TTFT.
Okay, that's how long it takes for the model to start generating its response.
Oh.
A low TTFT is crucial for user engagement. It gives you that immediate feedback that the AI is listening and ready to engage, like right away.
Okay, so you know it's working.
Exactly. Then there's output tokens per second,
Yeah.
or OTPS.
Go TPS.
That's how quickly it continues generating after that first token. This is essential for smooth, natural flow, ensuring the conversation or the content doesn't kind of stutter or halt unexpectedly.
Right, it keeps it smooth.
Yeah. And interestingly, research suggests that for user satisfaction, consistency in response times is often more important than just raw speed.
Really?
Yeah, a predictable delay, even if it's slightly longer, is often preferred over wildly fluctuating fast and slow responses. People find inconsistency jarring.
So it's a huge engineering challenge then to achieve that kind of consistency and speed. How are developers tackling it?
It absolutely is. They're basically operating under a strict latency budget. Think of it like every single component network transmission, data processing, the actual model inference, consumes a portion of a really tight performance ceiling. Milliseconds matter.
Wow, a budget for time.
Pretty much. And to fit within that, they employ sophisticated optimization techniques. Think of it like taking a massive, powerful engine and making it smaller and more efficient without losing too much power. So pruning is like removing unnecessary parts from the AI model. Quantization is kind of like using lighter, more compact materials for its data. And knowledge distillation is like having a brilliant but slow professor teach a fast, eager student everything they need to know for practical use.
Huh. So you get the knowledge, but faster.
Exactly. And all this is coupled with specialized hardware acceleration to squeeze out every last millisecond.
That brings to mind the engineering challenges of getting those millisecond level responses. How do you actually achieve that? Where does the processing happen?
Well, the most direct way is to bring the processing closer to where the data is generated. This is the core principle behind Edge AI.
Edge AI, okay.
So instead of sending all the data to a centralized cloud, which involves that time-consuming round trip,
Yeah, back and forth.
Edge AI processes data directly on or near the device itself, like your smartphone, a smart sensor in a factory, or an autonomous vehicle.
Right there on the spot.
Exactly. And the benefits go beyond just latency reduction, though that's huge.
Yeah.
We're talking about bandwidth conservation and cost savings because you're only sending essential insights back to the cloud, not tons of raw data.
That makes sense.
There's also enhanced privacy and security because sensitive data can be processed locally and maybe never even leaves the device.
Oh, interesting.
And finally, improved reliability and offline functionality. This means systems can operate even without a constant internet connection, which is crucial for things like self-driving cars or maybe remote surgery assistance in areas with poor connectivity.
So Edge AI is like having a powerful mini computer right where the action is happening. But to really scale that, you still need a super highway to connect all those edge nodes, right? That's where things like 5G and 6G come in.
Exactly right. 5G provides the necessary bandwidth, the ultra-low latency, and the massive device connectivity needed for these coordinated edge ecosystems. Think of vehicle-to-everything, or V2X communication.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where cars are talking to each other and to infrastructure in real time, helping prevent accidents, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And looking ahead, the vision for 6G is, well, truly mind-blowing. They're talking about an AI-native network, where AI is literally embedded into the fabric of the network itself for self-optimization, predictive maintenance.
Wow.
We're talking sub-millisecond latency.
Yeah.
That could unlock truly immersive augmented reality, maybe even the tactile internet, for remote interactions with haptic feedback. where you could literally feel what you're manipulating from miles away.
Feel it. Wow. So it sounds like it's not just edge or cloud, but maybe a blend of both.
That's exactly it. It's what we often call the edge-cloud continuum.
Continuum.
Yeah, imagine a huge central library that's the cloud with every book imaginable. But for quick answers, you have a smaller, specialized set of reference books right there on your desk. That's the edge.
Okay, I like that analogy.
The continuum means smartly and dynamically deciding which question needs the power of the big library and which can be answered instantly right there on your desk. So you're distributing workloads for the best of both worlds. You get that instant edge responsiveness and the massive cloud power for really complex compute-heavy tasks.
So the architecture needs to be super agile. But what about the brains of the operation, the AI models themselves? Is bigger always better for these real-time tasks?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
There's a critical trade-off here. The raw power of large models versus the speed and efficiency of smaller ones.
Okay.
So large language models, LLMs like GPT-4, maybe Meta's Llama 370B, they have hundreds of billions of parameters, offer unparalleled performance, amazing nuance.
Right, they're really big ones.
But their immense size makes them computationally expensive and pretty slow for real-time inference. They're generally not suitable for direct deployment right on the edge device.
Too slow, too big.
Exactly. So in response, we're seeing the rise of small language models, SLMs. Think Llama 3.8B, Mistral Small, or Google's Gemini Nano. These are much more lightweight, have much lower inference latency, and they're ideal for on-device or edge deployment where that sub-second responsiveness is absolutely required.
So they're fast enough.
They're fast enough. They might not match the absolute largest LLMs for every single nuanced task, but they're perfectly sufficient for many real-time applications, like conversational chatbots or powering those dynamic NPCs in games we talked about earlier.
Okay. And you mentioned agentic AI.
Yes, this optimization is particularly crucial for agentic AI. These are autonomous AI agents that need these low-latency, lightweight models deployed right at the edge so they can break down goals and execute tasks in the real world in real time without that lag.
That's a fascinating shift in how AI models are being deployed. Okay, now let's explore where we're seeing this truly come alive. You mentioned translation earlier. How is real-time generative AI making something that's been science fiction for decades? The universal translator, actually, well, real.
Yeah, it's incredible to witness, honestly. We've come such a long way from that clunky word-for-word translation software.
Oh, yeah, I remember those.
Right. Neural machine translation, NMT, that was a big step, allowing us to process entire sentences, capture context. But generative AI, especially with LLMs, takes it even further. It can capture subtle nuances like tone, cultural idioms, sentiment, making translations not just accurate, but genuinely natural sounding.
So it understands how things are said, not just what is said.
Exactly. The pipeline for real-time speech translation is pretty complex. It involves automatic speech recognition, ASR, to convert the speech to text.
Okay.
Then the translation itself using NMT or these new generative AI models.
Okay.
And finally, text-to-speech synthesis, TTS, to vocalize the translated message in the target language.
And we're seeing this in actual use now, right? Not just in research labs.
Oh, absolutely. Companies like Lionbridge, for example, are using platforms for simultaneous interpretation and multilingual captioning for global conferences, literally breaking down language barriers live as people speak. We're seeing it in customer support, tearing down e-commerce barriers for international buyers. Imagine browsing a site in your language, chatting with support in your language instantly.
That's huge for global business.
Huge. And it's even paving the way for AR glasses that could translate street signs and conversations directly in your field of view as you walk through a foreign city.
The Babelfish.
Pretty much. The technical challenge, though, is always finding that sweet spot between accuracy and speed. How do you translate simultaneously without an unacceptable delay that just breaks the natural flow of conversation? That's the tricky part.
That's a huge leap forward for communication. But beyond just translation, where else are we seeing content being generated, on the high?
Right. This is where it truly becomes a kind of living canvas.
Yeah.
The ability to generate or augment media content as an event unfolds is transforming passive viewing into really dynamic engagement.
Okay, like what?
Take live sports broadcasting. You might have seen Prime Video's Prime Insights during NFL or NASCAR broadcasts.
Yeah, the stats that pop up.
Exactly. They generate predictive graphics like defensive vulnerability in real time, giving viewers instant tactical understanding, or FLX Sports automatically generating highlight reels and insights for their sportscasters on the fly during games.
So the AI is like a super fast production assistant?
Kind of, yeah. Or consider dynamic and personalized advertising. There was this campaign by the storage company PODS called the World's Smartest Billboard.
Okay.
They used Google's Gemini AI to change the headlines displayed on their trucks in real time based on the specific NYC neighborhood the truck was driving through at that moment.
Yeah.
They generated over 6,000 unique headlines.
That's incredible. Advertising that literally adapts to its immediate environment.
It really is. We're also seeing amazing interactive event installations, like Invesco QQQ had an innovation arena at the NCAA Final Four featuring an AI-powered sports announcer that reacted live to the game.
Ah, cool.
Or there's an art installation called Dream Painter that turns spoken words into images, which are then drawn by a robotic arm, all in real time. And let's not forget the rise of virtual influencers and live avatars, like VTubers. They use motion capture and generative models to react dynamically to live audience comments, creating a much more authentic, real-time presence than we've seen before.
Okay, that brings us to what might be the most profound application for many of us: gaming. For years, game worlds were handcrafted, right? Beautiful, but often static. Now, generative AI seems poised to break that limitation, promising almost infinite replayability.
This is a massive game changer, literally. We've had procedural content generation, PCG, for a while. Think No Man's Sky with its 18 quintillion planets.
Right, huge but sometimes samey.
Exactly. It creates vast but sometimes repetitive worlds. And we've had adaptive AI, which modifies existing game elements, like making enemies get smarter over time. But generative AI goes further. It can create entirely new and unforeseen content from scratch, directly in response to player actions.
So we're talking about game worlds that actually feel alive and truly react to you specifically.
That's the dream, yeah. Imagine truly evolving worlds. An AI might generate an avalanche if a player makes too much noise near a mountain pass. Or maybe flood a river if you build your shelter too close. It could even dynamically manage in-game economies or the populations of virtual cities based on events.
That's amazing.
And think about dynamic and intelligent NPCs, non-player characters. NPCs with actual memory who recall your past interactions and can engage in unscripted, natural conversations, moving way beyond those repetitive dialogue trees we're used to.
No more arrow to the knee.
Hopefully. And perhaps the ultimate promise here is personalized, emergent narratives. Imagine the AI acting as a real-time dungeon master, crafting unique plot points, quests, and challenges tailored specifically to your playstyle and your choices. It would ensure every single playthrough is a truly unique story that literally hasn't been told before.
That sounds like the holy grail for replayability. So what's the common thread here? What ties all these incredible applications, translation, live media, gaming together?
What ties them all together, I think, is the generative feedback loop.
Generative feedback loop.
Yeah, the AI generates something. The user reacts to it. The AI ingests that reaction as new input, maybe your words, your actions, your choices, and then it generates a new adapted output. It's this powerful continuous cycle where the user and the AI are mutually shaping the experience together.
So it's a constant back and forth.
Exactly. And this leads to an even deeper concept: the blurring of lines between the content consumer, the content creator, and the content itself. You're not just playing the game anymore. You are, in a sense, a co-author of your unique version of it. An audience member interacting with a live AI installation isn't just a viewer. They're simultaneously a performer and a creator in that moment.
Wow.
This fundamentally alters the nature of media and entertainment, moving from passive consumption to active co-creation.
So, okay, this isn't just cool tech we're talking about. It's clearly a massive economic shift as well. You're saying the market for these generative AI applications is, like, exploding.
It certainly seems to be. The global generative AI and media and entertainment market alone is projected to surge from roughly $1.4 billion in 2023 to over $11.5 billion by 2033.
Wow, that's huge growth.
Yeah, that reflects a compound annual growth rate of around 26%. And this is driven by clear economic benefits, things like cost reduction and efficiency automating tasks like script writing or VFX work, significant revenue generation through that hyper-personalization we talked about, which boosts engagement and user retention, and, frankly, intense competitive pressure. Innovation here is no longer optional if you want to stay relevant.
And gaming is a big part of that.
Absolutely. The gaming sector is a particularly strong driver, projected to surge to over $4.8 billion by 2032, really propelled by that demand for dynamic environments and personalized gameplay experiences.
But realizing all this potential, it's far from simple, right? What are the big technical hurdles we still need to overcome?
Oh yeah, we face significant challenges, both at the model level and the system level.
Yeah.
At the model level, first off, models can hallucinate,
Hallucinate, meaning
meaning they confidently generate content that is factually incorrect
right.
or just plain nonsensical. In a real-time system where there's no time for a human to check it, this becomes a huge trust issue.
Right, you need to rely on it being accurate instantly.
Exactly. Another major concern is inherent bias. These models learn from the massive data sets they're trained on. If that data contains societal biases, and most large data sets do, to some extent the model can inadvertently perpetuate unfair or offensive outputs.
That's a big problem.
It is. And fundamentally, we need to remember these are incredibly powerful pattern-matching systems, but they aren't sentient beings. They still demonstrate a lack of true understanding. They can struggle with genuine critical thinking or understanding causality, which can lead to logical errors or just weirdness in their creations.
So the models themselves have these inherent limitations. What about the systems they run on? You mentioned system-level challenges, too.
Right. At the system level, the computational cost and environmental impact are huge concerns. Training and running these models, especially aiming for that low-latency, real-time inference, is incredibly resource-intensive. It consumes massive amounts of energy, which has cost implications and environmental ones.
Yeah, the energy use is a big topic.
Definitely. Then there's integration complexity. Trying to connect these new event-driven AI systems with older legacy IT infrastructure, that's a major engineering headache. It often leads to poor performance or compatibility issues.
Trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Kind of, yeah. And maybe most critically for real-time, data dependency and freshness. Real-time AI demands a continuous stream of fresh, up-to-the-minute data. Stale data completely undermines the whole value proposition. Remember the GPS with old traffic.
Filtering is the point.
And there's also this long-term, maybe more insidious risk people are starting to talk about, model collapse.
Model collapse, what's that?
It's the potential danger that future AI models might end up being trained predominantly on other AI-generated content, because so much of the web might become AI-generated. If that happens, they could gradually lose touch with original human-created data, potentially compounding errors and biases over generations of models.
Wow, like AI learning from imperfect copies of copies.
Something like that. It's a long-term concern, but a serious one.
Okay, so beyond the purely technical, there's this even more complex landscape of ethical and societal considerations that come with real-time generative AI. You mentioned trust. Building and maintaining public trust seems paramount here. What are some of the key ethical hotspots?
Well, the very nature of real-time personalization, even if you use edge AI to keep some data local, still involves the constant collection and processing of personal data. That always raises serious questions about data privacy and security. How is this data used? Who owns it? How secure is it?
Always a concern.
Absolutely. Yeah. Then there's the really contentious issue of copyright and intellectual property. These models train on vast amounts of existing content, text, images, code, often scraped from the internet without explicit permission or compensation to the original creators.
Right.
And the legal status of the AI-generated output itself is still very much undefined in most places. Is it original work? Who owns the copyright? This was a central issue, for example, in the 2023 Writers Guild of America strike.
Yeah, I remember that. And the creative power of these models, it can also be misused, can it?
Indeed. The ability to generate highly realistic deepfakes, fake video or audio, and targeted disinformation in real time poses a profound societal threat. It raises huge concerns about manipulation and misinformation, especially around things like elections or public opinion.
Scary stuff.
It is. Furthermore, many AI models are essentially black boxes. Their internal decision-making process is opaque, even sometimes to their creators. This makes accountability and transparency incredibly difficult. If an AI causes harm, who is responsible? How do you even figure out why it made that decision?
That's a tough one.
And of course, there's the persistent concern about job displacement, especially in creative fields like writing, art, music, and even coding, as AI becomes capable of automating tasks previously done by humans. That presents major economic and social issues we need to grapple with as a society.
So how do we navigate this minefield? Are these just risks we have to accept, or is there an opportunity buried in here somewhere?
That's a great question. And I think it does present a significant opportunity. While these are often framed purely as risks or compliance burdens, proactive investment in what we might call ethical infrastructure is actually becoming a powerful competitive advantage.
Ethical infrastructure.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
It's about designing technology to be inherently ethical right from the start, using things like privacy-preserving architectures, maybe leveraging edge AI for that, developing transparent and explainable AI XAI models so we can understand their reasoning, implementing things like digital watermarking to authenticate AI-generated content, and crucially, committing to using ethically sourced and responsibly managed data for training.
So building ethics in, not bolting it on later.
Exactly. And I genuinely believe that in the near future, a certified ethical generative AI service could command a premium price in the market. It transforms ethical considerations from being just a cost center into a potential value driver and a really important cornerstone of brand identity and trust.
Okay, that's a positive spin. So looking ahead then, what's next for real-time generative AI? Where are we headed in the next few years?
Well, I think we're definitely heading towards increasingly multimodal experiences. Imagine an AI generating not just text or an image, but entire multimedia experiences, video, audio interaction from a single prompt or conversation.
Wow, creating a whole scene.
Yeah. We'll also likely see the continued rise of agentic AI, those autonomous agents we talked about, becoming more capable of breaking down complex goals and executing tasks in the real world with less and less human intervention.
More autonomy.
Right. And of course, that trend towards hyper-personalization at scale will continue, where entire applications, entire digital experiences are tailored dynamically to your real-time context, maybe even anticipating your needs before you voice them.
It sounds less like AI replacing us and maybe more about a new era of human-AI collaboration.
I think that's the healthier way to look at it, yes.
Yeah.
AI handles the heavy lifting, the complex pattern matching, the instant generation, allowing us humans to focus on higher-level strategic functions, creativity, critical thinking, empathy, the truly human elements of any task.
So skills might shift.
Definitely. Prompt fluency, knowing how to effectively communicate with and guide these AI systems, will likely become a core productivity skill, maybe as essential as writing a clear email is today. We'll be guiding these powerful generative tools.
And the business model shifts too, doesn't it? You said the product is no longer just a static item.
Right. It becomes a dynamic, co-created experience. Imagine subscribing not just to a game, but to an ever-evolving AI-generated world within that game. Or a live news broadcast that's constantly shaped by your indicated preferences and interactions in real time. It's a profound shift in how value is created and consumed.
That brings us towards the end. Ultimately, this deep dive really shows us that the imperative for real-time responsiveness might trigger something fascinating, potentially a re-decentralization of the internet itself.
Interesting idea.
For decades, we've seen everything consolidate in these massive cloud data centers, right? But to get true real-time performance, that low latency, the intelligence has to move back out to the edge, closer to you, closer to where the data originates.
Pushing compute outwards again.
Exactly. So what does that mean for the future architecture of the internet, for things like data sovereignty, who controls your data, or even for the power dynamics of the big tech giants who currently run those huge clouds? That's a really big question worth pondering as we move into this new era of instantaneous creation.
It certainly is. And maybe some final thoughts for you, our listener, regardless of your role. For technologists listening, the clear priority is building out that robust hybrid edge cloud continuum we discussed and really optimizing those lightweight, low latency models for speed and efficiency. For investors, perhaps the most promising opportunities beyond the obvious AI giants lie in companies building that ethical infrastructure, and particularly in sectors like gaming and interactive media, where the growth projections are just soaring.
Right.
And for business leaders, I think it's crucial to start reframing AI not just as a cost cutter, but as a strategic capability for creating entirely novel customer experiences. It means upskilling your workforce, probably starting with high-impact but manageable use cases, and critically proactively embedding ethics and trust into your AI strategy right from day one. Don't wait for regulations to force your hand.
Build trust from the start. Some really great takeaways there. Well, that's our deep dive for today. Thank you so much for joining us on this exploration of the really exciting and complex world of real-time generative AI.
Thanks for having me.